built wall panels were created by a contemporary artist, Patricia Porter, to express the wonderful heritage of this cathedral. Its site has been a Christian place of worship for over 1300 years. The 3 wall panels tell something of the story of St. Aidan through landscape. Aidan was Irish, but spent some time at the monastery on Iona, which Columba had founded. This is featured on the left-hand panel. Later, Aidan's ministry was based on the island of Lindisfarne, featured on the right-hand panel. The central panel shows ancient Bradford Dale and its beck in Saxon times. Patricia Porter writes, "The themes of the panels were to illustrate chapters of Celtic Christianity. It spread from Iona to Lindisfarne. The seabirds on the Lindisfarne panel exemplified the gospel and hope spreading outwards from the island. The designs were to be abstract with imagery, but also something that stimulated thought and became a subject for meditation in the chapel." The panel nearest the altar depicts the Royal Hebridean Isle of Iona, where Aidan was a monk. Here, Columba's low green isle, once the Isle of the Druids, rests on a turquoise and indigo sea. Iona Abbey looks across the narrow sound of Iona to the larger Isle of Mull with its heathery hills. Here, beside the ancient carved wheel crosses of Iona, one has a feeling of being rooted into the very foundations of northern Christianity. The silence is touched only by the sound of the sea and its birds. The flowered shoreline, or macaire, leads down to a great breadth of shining water. The Celtic-style borders of the panels follow a pattern. The top shows creatures of the air. The sides show plants of the earth. The bottom shows aspects of the sea or streams. In the Iona panel, the top border shows butterflies, which abound on the wildflowers of the island, and the sides show the yellow irises, which grow wild and were used by the monks for inks and pigments for their illuminated calligraphy. The bottom border shows seals. The middle hanging is that of Bradford in ancient times, when the village beside the beck was surrounded by woodland. It was unusual for a village to be built in the valley bottom, but here was an important crossing place, which became a place of meeting and marketing, of sharing and exchange, at the Broad Ford, which gave Bradford its singular name. Since the first group of Christians was baptised near the Broad Ford, there have probably been 3 churches on this site. Of the first, nothing now remains except 2 carved stones, dating from Anglo-Saxon times, possibly remains of crosses. A cross is shown in the wall hanging, surrounded and enfolded by Bradford's green hills and its ancient woodland. The parish church was long known as the Kirk in the Wood. The beck can be seen at the bottom of the panel. Only 200 years ago, trout were swimming in the clear waters of the beck, near to where the wool exchange now stands, and there was a large rookery nearby. The top border of the Bradford panel shows doves roosting. The side borders show moorland grasses. The lower border shows trout. The third panel, nearest the door, is that of the holy island of Lindisfarne, to which Aidan was called in 634. The panel is bordered at the top with eagles, a Celtic symbol for extraordinary vision. The sides are cowslips, which grow on the island amongst the profusion of vetch and bird's foot trefoil and campion. The lower border shows fishing boats. The main panel shows the island's dolerite crag dominating the skyline. The original priory may well have been built on the long arm of the Heugh, curving around the natural harbour. Aidan, and subsequently Cuthbert, used to retreat to other Farne Islands periodically to fast and pray. Here, under the immensely wide Northumbrian skies, Aidan lived in simplicity and humility with great love and wisdom. In the panel, the rising sun breaks through dark clouds over the island.